Welcome back to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. The archives and load up some other talks that I've got of these Bob Earll cassettes. I've had them sitting on a hard drive for some time now. I've decided to share them with you all. Let me know what you think. Some people loved Bob. Some people hated Bob. Bob was Bob, but he talked all over the world. I mean, he's from Los Angeles, Beverly Hills area, and did other things. I think he was a writer. Just click down below, like or subscribe, or both, like and subscribe. Just click down below, like and subscribe on my channel. It helps me out. Just a little click for you, doesn't cost you anything, and I'm bringing you some Bob Earll. And have a good day if you want to.
McCLAY house, and I wonder if I can cover up any of the soy sauce spots that I got on the shirt. I can go a whole week and not get a spot, but it's always just the same night before I talk. I can't, I mean, I could hang a napkin and it wouldn't matter. Okay, let's clear the air. This is not an AA meeting. This meeting is not affiliated with any 12-step program, organization, institution, or anything else, okay? So if you're a fundamentalist from a 12-step recovery program, we may say some things tonight that could really spin you around in your chair. And if you just remember it's being said in the framework not of an AA meeting, perhaps you can just listen to us and go on your way. The purpose of this is to do a couple of three things. One is to raise some money from McCLAY House. Two is to inform people. It seems that the number one problem of adults raised in alcoholic and dysfunctional families is a lack of information. They don't have it, won't ask for it, don't know how to get it. And the third thing is to, of course, help us to promote the seminars that we do, the following day. So now I want to verbalize all that because I don't want you to sit there and say, well, I know what they're doing. Jesus Christ, they're just trying to set up tomorrow. Right, we are. Okay? But in the process, we put some serious money in the pockets of some people that really need it, and that's kind of what we like to do. I'm here to talk about the fact that over the years, and I've been about 26 years now in 12-step recovery and about 9 years working on the issues of adult children and codependency. And from all the people I hang out with now and all the professionals I talk to and all the pain I've been through, I've come to one simple conclusion. And that is that I can trace back every problem that has plagued me my entire life to what happened to me when I was a child. Okay, we can go home now. That's your assignment. So, there are adults who are raised in alcoholic homes, and there are adults who are raised in dysfunctional homes. Now, there's a whole big gang of professionals out there that would like to lump these two groups together and call them codependents. Okay? Which is fine. You can use whatever label you want. But my experience has been that there's really a very distinct difference from those of us raised in an alcoholic home and those of us raised in dysfunctional homes. In essence, what happens in most people's lives is this. One day, a little light goes on inside, and you realize you've done the very best job you can do. You don't know how to do it differently. You don't know how to do it better. And if given a choice, you'd sit down somewhere and die. And when that moment comes, if you're from an alcoholic home and somebody says, I think you better look back at what happened to you when you were a kid, you have a better chance initially of immediately seeing something wrong. Okay? Because no matter how hard the non-alcoholic or the guardian of the lie tried to keep you from knowing what was going on, there's a lot of secrecy and denial in alcoholic homes. And this is very crazy making for children. So if you're wondering why you're having difficulty as an adult, if you were raised in an alcoholic home, it's because for most of your childhood you were told that you didn't see what you saw, you didn't hear what you heard, you're not feeling what you feel, and what happened didn't happen. And that and there's an absolute cardinal rule in dysfunctional and alcoholic families, my favorite rule of all, and that is if you love me, you will never be in conflict with me. We've done some experiments and played around and done some fun stuff, and if without saying that to anybody in advance in a room this size, if we gave each of you a piece of paper and a pencil, and we said, you are now empowered to design for yourself the society or community in which you're going to live the rest of your life, please write out a description of that community. All but about 4 of you would describe a community without conflict. And it don't work that way. That's the bummer. That's the bummer. So if when you hit this moment of clarity and you want to die, you're from an alcoholic family, you look back, see, in alcoholic families, there's things that go on they just can't clean up. You know, no matter how hard they try. I mean, you're a little boy and you come in from outside perhaps, or a little girl from playing with your baseball bat and glove and everything, and you open up the closet door to put your bat and ball away, and here's your father in the closet, glassy-eyed, peeing on the shoes, you know. So, now, they're going to tell you about Dad's flu, okay? And then he has an inner ear problem, he's lost his sense of direction, and somehow wound up in the closet peeing on the shoes. Well, all you know is that you're 6 years old, you've been in every other kid's house in the neighborhood, and you have not seen any of the other fathers in the closet peeing on the shoes. But you've also learned not to push the issue. Because if you grow up in a violent alcoholic household, you push the issue, you will be beaten. You will be beaten. So you learn to be quiet really early on. Or mothers have a tendency to pass out, alcoholic mothers, in inappropriate places. So you come home, it's hard to get the front door open because mom's on, you know, on the floor in front of it, or she's passed out on the back porch with her head in the dryer, you know, looking to a child as if it's been guillotined, you know. So, and then you're told, well, she was tired. She was doing the laundry. You know, your mother was tired. She was doing the laundry. She rested, you know. She's taking a nap, you know. You learn not to question. So you come from an alcoholic home and you hit this moment of clarity that your life isn't working, or if you're in 12-step recovery from chemical dependency, usually about 2 to 4 years, the feelings start coming back and you think you're losing your mind and you want to die or kill yourself. So at that point, too, when these issues come up, you look back, you say, well, yeah, my family wasn't 100%. But the dangerous family, the really dangerous family, is a dysfunctional family. Because if you're from a dysfunctional family and you look back at it, it looks pretty good. It looks okay. You know, Dad worked hard, man. Made lots of money. Of course, you were always told about this, too. I always love this one. You know, they line the children up and they tell them, your father works so hard for you. The reality is your father works hard because he's a compulsive human being. Instead of drinking or taking drugs, he works. You know, that's his high. It's got nothing to do with you or providing for you. It's his own sickness, okay? So they'll tell you how wonderful he is because he works so hard for you. But the reality is that you, in the interim, are 3 years old, chasing the guy at the gas station, going, Daddy, Daddy, because you don't know what the hell Daddy looks like. Daddy's never home, right? You'll take any man on in the neighborhood, Daddy, Daddy, where are you? They say, well, he loves you. Now, here's where the kicker comes in for children from dysfunctional families. You were told that you were loved. You were probably even had another real thing in dysfunctional families. They're trying to do well, rearing their children. Terrible term, rearing their children. They'll have the dinner time family discussions, right? Let's have a stress-free meal, okay? It is at this point that the children are allowed to bring up the issues that disturb them. You know, they want the children to know that they are an equal part of the family and that they have an equal say in what's going on in the house. Okay? So, okay, children, you can now speak. But there's a real severe unspoken rule, and the children know it. And that is, you may say anything you want as long as it does not put the parents under stress. Okay? So although on the surface it looks pretty, on the inside you're dying. Because here's the thing, here's the killer. Children don't understand words. Children live off of feelings. Okay? You're born with a full set of feelings. And I've got a 2-month, 3-week-old baby daughter, so I'm speaking from firsthand, personal, immediate experience as of this morning, okay? They come with a full set of feelings. They can get so mad, they turn so red, you think they're going to die right where they sit, you know. They can get so sad and cry so hard, and when they need anything, they let you know immediately, and they can giggle and they can laugh and they can have the best time. So I've learned God delivered me here with all these feelings. Yet I've been made to feel all my life like that something was wrong with these feelings, that I should suppress these feelings, control these feelings, okay? So children come with the feelings. So if a child is standing there in front of the mother and the mother is saying to the child, "Oh, Bobby, I love you. You are the most wonderful boy in the world." And what the kid is hearing from inside his mother is, "If I hadn't slept with Earll in the back seat of that fucking Chevy on Thursday night, I wouldn't have got pregnant with you. I wouldn't be stuck in this goddamn suburban house in Reseda, California. I'd be in the Bahamas where I belong with a tan beach boy screwing my brains out in the sun." So although the child is being told he's loved, he doesn't get that sense. You know? He gets a little bit of an empty feeling there when the words are being spoken. If you're from a dysfunctional family and you have not seen the film Ordinary People, I suggest you rent it tonight. Also say hello to my mother when you watch the film. That's her, capable of touching and capable of any human emotion or feeling of any kind, cold and distant, okay, and drawn. Well, okay, come on, you know. So a couple of things happened when I was a kid. No big deal. I'm really okay. Anyway, no, you're not. Okay? And the minute you do that stuff to yourself, you're giving yourself the sales pitch. Okay? And I'll tell you where you learned this sales pitch. You learned the sales pitch when you were a kid. You're in the store. No, 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 you don't like that shirt. You like this shirt. You don't like those shoes. You like these shoes. No, 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 you're not mad. You're not mad. You're just upset because of so-and-so, you know. No, 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 that's nothing to cry about. We'll get you another dog. No, no, no. This is a lovely home. What do you mean you don't like it here? You go to a wonderful school with fantastic children. Well, you cannot not like that school. Okay? This is what you hear in dysfunctional families, alcoholic families. They need control, man. They need to control you. Okay? So now you grow up as an adult, and I bet everybody in the room has done a sales job at some point today on themselves. Oh, well, I think I'll go to the beach today. No, no, you don't want to go to the beach. The beach is too far, it's too cold, you know, I mean, and so, see, but this crazy making stuff, if you don't have anything to counterbalance what you're hearing, it becomes the truth. See, that's the tragedy. You got no other information. The other tragedy is that dysfunctional parents need their children's approval. Okay? They need for me, age 4, to say, "Hey, you know what? You guys are the best parents in the world." We have a small problem here. Children can't give approval. They absolutely cannot give approval. They do not have the necessary tools to approve. To approve or disapprove of something, you need a massive amount of information on both sides of the issue. You cannot give or withhold approval unless you have information. Children have no information. And you're saying, "I'm a great parent. Tell me I'm a great parent." They don't know you're a great parent. They can't approve. So the child is being put in a box. Love me. Approve of me. And the kid's going, "You know, my shoes don't fit." No, no, no. Your shoes fit. It's okay. And this stuff is so subtle, see? Why do you talk about this stuff, Bob? Well, I talk about this stuff because I believe this is the core issue of every addiction on the planet. I think this stuff is the stuff that started before I used drugs and before I drank alcohol. It's got nothing to do with what happened to me in recovery. It has to do with why I picked it up and started to use it in the first place. Okay, in the very beginning. Because, I mean, there's things like, you know, your parents will say to you, "You don't have to go to the bathroom." A little kid will, okay, you know. So now I can hear the minds cooking out there, right? We have the workaholics, obsessive people out there, okay? We got the dads that are going to go on vacation. They're going to have a relaxed vacation with their family. They're going to drive from New York to Los Angeles in 12 hours. You know, television, fuck the scenery, you know what I mean? 90 miles an hour, man, blowing down the interstate. You know, a radar detector on, CB radio, you know, they're gonna get there and they're gonna have a happy vacation. And the little kid in the back seat says, "I gotta go to the bathroom." "Yeah, get out of the bathroom." You know, kid goes, "Oh, okay, maybe I don't." What would a loving father do? A loving father would pull the car off the interstate, pull in the gas station, park the car, get the kid out of the car, take the kid to the bathroom, stand there by the urinal with him for 10 minutes in the bathroom while he doesn't pee, you know. And then he'll look up at his father and he'll say, "I guess I didn't have to go to the bathroom." His father said, "I guess not." You get back in the car and you go on. And a human being and his feelings have been honored and respected. See, the flip side of this is this kid will do that for others. This kid will do that for others. With my baby daughter, I can tell exactly the time and the point at which my mother would lose patience with me and beat me to keep me from crying. Because I stopped cold. I mean, it's just like an alarm goes off in me with my daughter. You know, it's like I say, "Okay, that's enough time. You've cried long enough. Stop." You know, she don't stop, right? It goes on. And I'm now nuts inside. I'm completely, totally berserk inside. Because now it's time, you know, to, you know, I don't want to use her for a basketball, you know, because this is this very fragile, beautiful, delicate little child given to us by God. But there's a thing inside of me that says, "Stop this fucking kid from crying." You know? So I hand her to my wife. We have a rule in our house. Stressed parent passes child to non-stressed parent. If both parents are stressed, we pass child to Hispanic nanny and we leave home. Because, see, we don't have to be perfect parents. We were both raised in staggeringly abusive, dysfunctional homes. And so we don't want that energy to go to our child because we know it's not what we say, it's what she feels. Okay? So I don't want to be holding her wanting to use her for a football when I can have somebody else hold her who loves her and will sing to her in Spanish. Because then she feels good and she smiles. You know? So we leave because we don't have to be perfect. Because I understand that I was raised in a house where shame was the rule. Okay, what's shame about? I'll try and make shame as simple as I can. Shame is in essence a matter of control and release. That's all it is. It's people under complete control who then have release. Jimmy Baker and Swiger would be good examples of control and release. Great control and little release. Unfortunately, it wasn't popular with their followers, but what the hell, you know. But I love these guys. See, I love that stuff because, you know, one of the things about a lot of dysfunctional homes, like most people with eating disorders come out of strict homes. Real strict, rigid homes, okay? Because obedience is not something to be proud of. Obedience is not something wonderful. Obedience is criminal. Oh, I can hear the people, "Oh, wait, man, we have society. What do we do in the fucking schools? And I mean, how would you handle it? I mean, we got to have obedience. You got to have order. You know? Let me read you something. It's funny. This talk is going in a totally different direction than I planned. Age. Oh, I hated buying these glasses. Can you imagine how I felt father-to-be, right? You know, pregnant wife and I are out shopping, you know, and I got to put my glasses on to read the stuff on the baby stuff to see whether we want it or not, you know. Got on the airplane, come back from Hawaii, one of the flight attendants said, "Oh, is that your granddaughter?" If Delta Airlines doesn't fire her after the letter I wrote, I'll be super honest. Our guests were mostly priests of every sort. Oh, that's a nice house. Priests, religious. We're in a Catholic church now, my God. As the years passed, my father's religious fervor increased. See, strict religious homes are as dysfunctional as any as a violent alcoholic home. Whenever time permitted, he would take me on pilgrimages to all the holy places in our own country, as well as to Einsiedeln in Switzerland and to Lourdes in France. He prayed passionately that the grace of God might be bestowed on me, so that I might one day become a priest, blessed by God. Sounds good so far. Got a kid, home, want him to be a priest. The father cares so much, he's taking him to religious shrines, to show him the religious shrines, to help further this indoctrination as to what they want him to be and what they want him to do. I, too, was as deeply religious as was possible for a boy of my age, and I took my religious duties very seriously. I prayed with true childlike gravity and performed my duties as acolyte with great earnestness. Oh, good kid, like to have him for a neighbor, you know. Instead of a couple of ones we got, goes to church, lights the candles, puts them out, does it, with earnestness, energy. I had been brought up by my parents to be respectful and obedient toward all adults. That's good, huh? We've all heard that one. Respectful and obedient. Respectful and obedient towards all adults, regardless of their social status. Oh, and especially the elderly, regardless of their social status. I was taught that my highest duty was to help those in need. Good. Now here's the catch line. Listen to this one very carefully. It was constantly impressed upon me in forceful terms that I must obey promptly the wishes and commands of my parents, teachers, and priests. Forcefully. Okay, have you got that one? It was constantly impressed upon me in forceful terms that I must obey promptly the wishes and commands of my parents, teachers, and priests, and indeed of all adults, including servants, and that nothing must distract me from this duty. Whatever they said was right. Obedience. By God, an obedient kid. The one you want next to you on the airplane. These basic principles by which I was brought up became second nature to me. These are from the writings of Rudolf Hess, Commandant of Auschwitz. Put hundreds of thousands of people to death because he was obedient. He was raised in a strict religious home to be a priest or a missionary. Okay? This is out of a book called For Your Own Good by Alice Miller. If you're from a dysfunctional family, I absolutely would say if you buy one book in the next 10 years, well, I have one coming out in July, no. Make it hers. Make it for your own good. Also, if you're from an alcoholic family, but particularly if you're from a dysfunctional family. She's a German psychiatrist. She's a brilliant woman, and in essence what she's saying is this. She's saying, look, if we're going to talk about dysfunctional families, we have some excellent examples here in Germany. Perhaps we should look at them. Okay? Okay, this is depressing, all right? I came here to hear Bobby E. be funny and laugh and talk about committees and Eskimos and all that horseshit, and all this stuff that went on when I was a kid is not that important. It really doesn't affect me as an adult. So there. Let's talk about another guy who was a little bit dysfunctional and grew up in another religious, strict home.
God, what a great guy. He was so funny.
A little character by the name of Adolf. Okay? Now, Adolf grew up in a home with a hunchback, schizophrenic aunt. Not exactly a quiet setting. You know what I mean? Now, a child allowed to express themselves can grow up in a home with a hunchback schizophrenic aunt and do just fine. Because the kid can come in from the yard and walk up to mom and say, Mom, Aunt Joanna is in the backyard, in the tree, naked. Mother can say, yes, you're right. Aunt Joanna is in the backyard, in the tree, naked. And the little boy can say, I find that very upsetting. It upsets me and it embarrasses me. And the mother can say, yes, you aren't the only one that finds it upsetting and embarrassing. It upsets me, it embarrasses me, it upsets your father, it embarrasses your father, and it upsets and embarrasses many of our neighbors. But Aunt Joanna just listens to was a different drummer than the rest of us. So what we got is, we got a little kid who sees his aunt naked sitting in the tree in the backyard and says it upsets me. He comes in and says, hey, she's sitting in the tree and it upsets me. And if it was an alcoholic home and he came in and said that and the aunt was a drunk, they'd say, no, that's not your aunt. That's a strange and rare Alaskan bird, you know. Flew south for the spring, you know. The laid-off, on the other hand, was never able to say anything about this aunt to anybody because he had gotten his brains beaten in if he had. And this aunt was so crazy, they have letters from housekeepers who quit because of this insane humpback woman. Mad woman, I think they called her. An insane humpback mad woman. And they just quit their jobs and left. But he never could say a word. But so what? I mean, come on, you're a kid. You know, I mean, this stuff does not carry with you. I mean, let's live in today, huh, and stop all this bullshit, okay? Let's just focus on today. I mean, going back in that isn't going to help anything. Because it doesn't bother you. It doesn't affect you. I'm okay. My parents did the best job they could with the tools they had. True, they did. Absolutely. Absolutely. So did Hitler's. I'll tell you how his aunt affected him. When he came to power in Germany, he put to death all of the mentally ill and all of the mentally retarded throughout Germany and Poland. Some 100 and some odd thousand mentally retarded and mentally ill people were put to death immediately. I'd say he got even with Aunt Joanna. And I'd say it had a real serious effect on him. Okay? Oh, come on, Jesus, Bob, I don't need this stuff. I want to, yeah. Well, those are just the biggies. See, that's the big stuff. You know? You say, well, goddamn, I'm in 12-step recovery here. You know what I mean? I'm in 12-step recovery. I work these steps and I'm okay. I wrote my inventory and that's all I need to know about me. I wrote 32 inventories. In 17 years, clean and sober, I wanted to die. How come? Because it works like this. There's nothing wrong with the 12 steps. They're beautiful. There's some information which is going to make a great many AAs tremendously uncomfortable, is that they came from the other side through automatic writing. That's not funny. I don't want any spirit screwing with my steps. Come on, for Christ's sake. You know, those guys used to sit around and hold seances at Dr. Bob's house, who was a proctologist. It makes you wonder who he wanted to talk to in the seance anyway, you know. I'm having so much fun I forgot where the hell I was going anyway. Oh yes, 12 steps. Okay, so I sit down in 12 steps and I write an inventory, and I write in my inventory, I lied to my wife. My sponsor says to me, can't do that. This is recovery. It's going to try and live differently now. We've got to try and stop lying and do better. Okay. Next year I come back with another inventory. Says I lied to my wife. Bob, you've got to stop this lying to your wife. It's going to be detrimental to your recovery. You need to tell her the truth. Well, what's being missed here is a little line in the book that says the exact nature of our wrongs. So here's how it would go if someone understood these issues, listening to that statement. I would say to them, I lied to my wife. They would say to me, why? I'd say, well, because I didn't want to tell her the truth about how the dent got in the car. Well, why didn't you want to tell her the truth about why the dent got in the car? It was an accident. Yeah, but if I told her the truth about how the dent got in the car, she would have gotten mad. It's her car.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
So what? So she gets mad. You put a dent in her car, it was an accident, and she gets mad. Why is that a necessity for you to lie to her? Well, because when she gets mad at me, I get afraid. Okay. Well, what happens when you're afraid? Well, because she makes me afraid, I want to kill her. And I'm afraid I will. Well, why are you so afraid? Why do you want to kill her? Well, because angry women terrify me. Well, why do angry women terrify me? Well, because when I was a little boy and my mother would get mad, she would beat me. And they would say, well then, Bob, you see, you perceive a woman's anger to be an honest-to-God threat. An honest-to-God physical threat. You are incapable of letting someone express their anger because it is a physical threat to you. And it makes you want to kill them. Now we've gotten to the exact nature of the wrong. I didn't lie because I'm a bad guy. I didn't lie because I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic. I didn't lie because I'm a sleazy street person who used to rob and steal. I lied because I'm scared to death of this broad. Because it makes something so ancient I don't even know just go absolutely berserk inside of me. And I can't talk to her. So I lied to her rather than deal with the feeling. Rather than deal with the feeling. That's the exact nature. When's the last time you sat down with a 12-step inventory and you took the stuff to the exact nature? And if you do, it'll be very confusing. And usually the things that's best for you to take to the exact nature are the things that are confusing to you. See, like I could never understand why I was so afraid of women. I'd do anything to keep a woman from being mad. Reverse side is with men, come on, get mad. You know, let's rock and roll a little bit. I'm the kind of guy sober who would get out of his car, you know, cut you off in the intersection, get out of my car and jump in the middle of your fucking hood to talk to you about your driving. You know, let's discuss how you drive, asshole. You know, I'm looking to get even for 40 years of fucking anger. Here, get out of your car and talk to me, you know. You think you just ran a stop sign and don't mean shit. Let me tell you what it means. It's changing my whole fucking life, man. That's what it means. Get out of your car! If it had been a woman and she jumped out screaming, yeah, well, you son of a bitch, I've been gone. You know, gone, and wondered why. You know, not understood why. I can remember taking this one broad's dog out to walk for a night to take him out to pee because she'd get mad if I didn't walk her goddamn dog. I probably had $30,000 worth of drugs in my car. I had a sawed-off shotgun and one strapped to my leg and one in my fucking car, and I'm afraid to not walk her dog. You know? And while I'm walking the dog, I'm thinking about shooting the dog and her, you know. See? But the fear is that I'll miss. Because I am so totally petrified because of what happened to me as a child. I am so afraid. So, well, why don't people work on this stuff right away? There's real good reasons why we don't work on it right away. Most of us don't know them. There are two kinds of adults raised in alcoholic and dysfunctional families. Those who can't remember anything and are not in touch with their feelings at all. Those who are in touch with their feelings and can't express them. I got to tell you something, honestly. I am one of the ones who absolutely was not in touch with his feelings, and I think I like it that way better than being one of the ones that knows what they're feeling and can't say it. I mean, that's got to be... See, I think codependency takes more lives than anything else in the country. I mean, I believe it's probably the #1 cause of cancer. I mean, you can't hold that much stuff in and not rot to death. You know, and there's too many people that go through these recovery things that learn how to laugh, you know, and learn how to let go, and suddenly it's in remission, and they live, okay? So I think these issues will kill you. Codependency, Bob. What's codependency? Codependency, quite simply, is this. It's a person that lives their entire life focused outside of themselves. And this, you live in, you know, I used to live here. I lived in Southern California most of my life. I live in New Mexico now. I got to tell you, you live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and you stay away from here for 6 months, and you come back, and you really see. I mean, you're trapped here, man, in a society that lives outside of itself. What you wear, how you dress, how you look, you know, what other people think. I watch people in cars here. You know, there's not a lot of energy on expensive automobiles in Santa Fe. Nobody particularly gives a shit what you drive. It just doesn't seem terribly important. And I've gone to luncheons of the Opera Guild, you know, and pulled in my 10-year-old four-door Mazda, you know, and parked it, you know, and got out and not felt bad, you know, among the other cars there. So there's not a lot of energy on cars. And I come back here and I watch people in cars. I see them in their expensive car, and I see that they feel important in that car. Now, you know why they think they're important in that car? Because they think that other people in those cars are important. That's why. So if I look at you and you got one, and I think you're important, and I'll get one, and I'll be important, but inside I know I'm not important. Now we're getting to the killer for the adult child. No matter what you do, where you go, how thin you get, how much money you spend, how big a house you live in, how kind of clothes you wear, what kind of cars you drive, no matter what you do inside, there's a little fellow, a little girl, a little being saying, "You're not enough. You're not enough. It didn't work. They're going to expose you." Well, I won't go there if they're going to expose me. I'll stay home if they're going to expose me. How the hell can you live with this kind of stress? Yeah. Codependents have a terrible time getting out. Codependency is... I find in recovery from drug addiction and alcoholism that usually the drug addict or the alcoholic in recovery will take on the character traits of the non-alcoholic of the family if they were raised in a family where there was one alcoholic and one non-alcoholic. I know for a lot of you guys that's like me, it means mom. Not fun, you know, but for years in recovery I would hear these petty little phrases come out of my mouth. Oh, we can't do that. They won't think, you know. I mean, I could hear my, you know, not knowing that I was hearing my mother. So, why can't I do this stuff, Bob? Well, you can't do it because you probably pushed it down, the bad stuff down so deep, it's so far down in your unconscious, you can't pull it up easily. That's called repression. You have repressed it. Suppression means that you have pushed it down just far enough to cover it up with wishful thinking, with angry-free, stress-free, sadness-free thoughts. My best friend said one time he finally realized that he had spent all of his life mourning the loss of a childhood that never existed. You know? I mean, the childhood he had in his mind and the one that happened were like this. Two totally different things, miles apart. But this one was nice to remember. It didn't have the pain and the sadness that this one had. So he chose this one. Or the other one, for those of you who are working on these issues, and you may encounter some of these people, and you may encounter this in yourself too, because I think most of us raised in homes that were physically or sexually abusive, we will encounter all three: repression, suppression, and splitting off. But when you're working on these issues, if you encounter somebody that's split off, it will drive you nuts. Because a split-off person can recall everything from their childhood. And they can stand there as casually as if they're reciting the basketball scores to you and tell you about the time that their mother took them in the kitchen, tied them to the table, and burned them with hot, utensils from the stove. And then when they got done burning them with hot utensils on the stove, they took them down off the table, kicked them in the ribs, drug them out on the back porch, threw them in the dryer, closed the dryer, and turned the dryer on, leaving the child to bump inside. Now, I've had this story told to me. It's not something I've created in my mind. So, and they stand there and tell it like, Mom beat me, slaughtered me, kicked me, put me in the dryer, and a part of my childhood. Splitting off is what happens to children Now remember, this has nothing to do with what's happening to the child. It has to do with what the child perceives, okay? And if a child perceives that they are about to die, doesn't matter if it's based in any reality in your mind or not, if the child perceives that they are about to die, they will split off, which simply means they leave their body and they go to some other spot in the room and they watch what's happening without being attacked. And they can recount it blow by blow to you years later with no feeling. For them, their recovery is the same as for us. You recover from these issues by going back and finding out what really happened and feeling the feeling. Because what happens to most people is, you see, we come in here into 12-step recovery, and after a certain amount of freedom from the chemicals, we run into a situation where the feelings start to come up again. Now, I love this one, okay? You go to a meeting dealing with the recovery from drug dependency or alcohol dependency, and if you listen to someone talk about their first experience with the drugs, with the alcohol, with the food, with whatever, here's what you hear 99% of the time. And I feel quite qualified to say this because I've been listening to this line for 26 years. What they say is this: it made me feel taller. It made me feel handsome. It made me feel sexier. It made me feel tough. It made me feel brave. It made me feel okay. It made me feel something. Okay? So, we have ingested a chemical that has made us feel something. It has somehow altered our feelings. And yet, my experience has been, you can come into 12-step recovery, and this will possibly be the last discussion of feelings you'll ever have. You see, 12-step recovery would be more honest if there was a Bataka room and Kleenex in front of every spot at every table, so that the feelings can come up. Because here's what you got. You want to know why you start to get crazy when the feelings come up and there's nobody to talk to? Because one of the myths is that recovered is not needy. To be recovered is to be not needy. Wrong. Bad information, like mom and dad used to give. Bad information. To be recovered is to know what your needs are and to be able to go about getting them met. It doesn't mean to be not needy. So, you can go sit in a meeting, and in that meeting can be people, there can be girls and boys alike who were so horribly sexually abused as children that if they talked about it, you would probably throw up. There are adults who as children in that room were beaten so badly they probably have permanent damage done to their bodies. They have a lot of reasons to be really sad. They got a lot of things to really grieve about. Now I'm getting into John's term, into grieving, and which we got a lot of it. Okay? We got a lot of things to cry about. Yet if you cry about any of them, you'll be accused of self-pity. Something's wrong somewhere. Something's wrong somewhere. So what you need, if you want to work on this stuff, and this stuff may not be important, you may be sitting there saying, what is he talking about? My folks are good folks. Or you may be sitting there saying, listen, I am from the New Age side of the world, and I chose my parents. I chose them before I ever got here. Okay. I chose mine, maybe. Boy, did I fuck up. Major error. Not the first one, May have been the first one, but it wasn't the last, but it's certainly one of the big ones. Absolutely one of the big ones. Because the terrible lie is that they did the best job they could with the tools they had, and we intellectually cut ourselves off there because everybody around us wants us to forgive our parents because they don't want us to do it. They do not want to deal with the energy we bring in when we're mad. People people try and work on these issues, they try to go in a meeting of adult children of alcoholics, and they come away saying, oh my God, those people are so sick. I have never been around people that sick in my life. They aren't into the solution, they're into the goddamn problem. All they do is sit there and pound on the tables and cry and talk about mom and dad and Jesus Christ, you know. I read some article by some woman today who wrote a book, said she's sympathetic with the adult children, but, you know, thinks we should get beyond my Christmas was worse than your Christmas. I hope I meet her when I go back to do a workshop in New York. I'd love to talk to her about her childhood and what she's not looking at. Because my Christmases were fucking awful. I don't know how yours were, but they aren't usually a hit, man, in an alcoholic home, you know. This is usually when they all gather and the energy is so bad the children just get real small, you know. This is when the drunken uncles play with the electric train and you can't get near it. And your parents tell you it's okay, you can have it later. But Santa Claus brought it for me. No, it's okay. So anyway, they come out of these meetings, they say, oh, we're in the sickness. The description of the disease of an adult child of an alcoholic family is someone who is not in touch with their feelings or cannot express their feelings. That's accepted by all the professionals, are not in touch with or cannot express their feelings. Adult children. If you walk into a room of adult children and they are crying or angry or pounding on the table or in any way expressing a feeling in front of others, they are in recovery. Okay? But if you're from an alcoholic or dysfunctional home and this is your first meeting, it's gonna make you so goddamn uncomfortable you want to die. You may leave before the meeting's half over because you're not used to that. You're not used to the open expression of feelings. It's gonna make you really uncomfortable. You won't know how to act, and adult children can't handle not knowing how to act. I gotta know how to act. I spent my whole life watching you so I can figure out how the hell to do it. And I go into this meeting and you're sitting there going, well, I don't want to do that. So I leave. See? Because I'm uncomfortable. Open expression of feelings is considered something's wrong. Open expression of feelings is how we arrived here. Feelings are what God gave me. I don't think He gave them to me so I could spend my whole life trying to suppress them. Ask the fundamentalists. Ask Jimmy when he gets nailed in the motel room with the broad. He tried, goddammit. But it just sort of came seeping out through the cracks, you know what I mean? I mean, he really meant well, but we're not, unfortunately, here's the problem, we're not designed that way. We're not designed to repress this stuff. That's why it kills us. I mean, literally kills us. You hold it in, you're gonna die. It's energy, it's gotta go somewhere. Now, the tragedy of a guy like Jimmy Swagger is this. His flock is going to desert him because he sinned. Anybody know what sinned means? Missed the mark. That's right. It's from the Greek. Means missed the mark. Doesn't sound like such a big deal, does it? Missed the mark. Suddenly it loses some energy in translation. God, I have sinned. They're saying, well, gang, last week I was in downtown, you know, Baton Rouge, and I missed the mark. But here we are, I'm back, and let's go to work. Well, they're not going to let him go to work. Not only are they not going to let him go to work, they're going to scrap a lot of great stuff he did because adult children from alcoholic dysfunctional families living by rigid rules need for their heroes to be perfect. And the minute our hero becomes flawed, we throw him away. Now, if you'll do that with your hero, guess who else you'll do that with? Yeah, you got it. Yourself. The minute you find the flaw in yourself, you will throw yourself away. Adult children buy the best equipment for every sport in the world and never participate. Because they don't know how to do it. We don't know. You can just show up and ask somebody, how do you do this? I got these things here and these poles here. What the hell do I do with them, you know? We can't do that. We'll just leave $10,000 worth of ski gear in the fucking closet, you know? Go skiing this year, Bob? No, I was unable to make it. Yeah, business kept me away. I really would like to have gone. So the tragedy is a guy like Swaggart, you know, tens of thousands of children get clothes, tens of thousands of children get food. People get, tens of thousands of children get medicine. Screw the fact you got to pray to his God before you get it. It's unimportant. They got food, they got medicine, they got clothes. Their lives are probably saved. And all that will be scrapped because we live in a rigid, controlled society that will not allow people to be what they were intended to be in the first place as people. Well, when did all this shit start, Bob? Well, why not? Get the glasses out again, Mom. I'll talk while I get the glasses out. Another issue that adult children have, I love to talk. Well, another issue adult children have a real trouble with is intimacy. Okay, so now we got a lot of stuff going on about intimacy. I mean, we got books on intimacy. Intimacy is a real buzzword. You want a hot book, you put intimacy on the cover. You know, that's gone, boy. This is for people who can't be intimate. You know, they buy the books by the thousands. We have meetings on intimacy. We have groups on intimacy. We have seminars, workshops on intimacy. I heard there was a group in LA for women who are in relationships with men who are unable to express their feelings. Okay with me. I don't know why you're in a relationship in the first place, but you know, it's all right. Anybody who has not, just the people here who have been to some of the workshops I've done, anybody who has not been to a workshop I do that knows what intimacy is? Now I want you guys to pay attention to this. I want you to get this, that you're not alone. Nobody else in the fucking room knows either, and they got books on the subject, they've been to workshops on the subject, they know they can't do it, but they don't even know what the hell it is they can't do, and they know the person they're with they can't do it, but they know if they could do it, they would feel better. But nobody knows what it is, because adult children won't ask. Ready? Here's how complicated intimacy is. Intimacy is me being me and letting you see me. That's all it is. Me being me, the real me, and letting you see me. When you prepare tuna fish for me, darling wife, and you know that I hate tuna fish, it makes me feel really terrible. I want to sit on the floor and cry because it reminds me when I was a child, and I think when you fix me tuna fish, you don't love me. It's me being me and letting you see me. It's showing you the embarrassing stuff. That's all intimacy is. Find out who you are and let the people see you. I can't tell you how nice it is. You don't have a lot of stuff to worry about because they ain't going to come in your closet and find anything to surprise them. Nah, screw it. Can't read all stuff. Come tomorrow. Sorry, I know this is fun to watch me sit up here and turn pages. The gentle rod of the mother is a very soft and gentle thing. It will break neither bone nor skin, yet by the blessing of God with it, and upon the wise application of it, it would break the bond that bindeth up corruption in the heart. Withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Thou shalt beat him with the rod and deliver his soul from hell. That's a book on a godly form of household government written 367 years ago. One of the things you got to learn when you start to work on these issues is where the stuff started. It didn't start with mom and dad, and it didn't start with grandma and grandpa. It came over on the boat a long time ago. There's others in here, but I really don't have time to read it. This is, again, stuff out of the book For Your Own Good by Alice Miller. And she has quotes out of child rearing manuals that were written 300 years ago to show you where it started. If you ask me where I think it started when religion started. As soon as they decided they needed to control us and to stop us from feeling free. You understand, all over Europe and in the United States too, all the churches are built, or not all the churches, but a great many of the original churches in any area are built on the sites where the pagan ceremonies were held, where the children used to dance and sing and have fun in the October moon and the spring equinox and the fall equinox. And I mean, they had these great, wonderful, bizarre celebrations. Go to Hawaii. I mean, look at those beautiful people, those beautiful children. And the goddamn missionaries showed up. You know? They didn't know that laughing and having fun and eating fruit and swimming in the ocean and making love was bad. They thought it was okay. They thought all this stuff was given to them by God. Okay. What do I do about this stuff, Bob? Jesus Christ. One of the best places for an adult child from an alcoholic or dysfunctional family is in group therapy. Individual therapy is terrific too, but group therapy is a wonderful place for us because we are very filled with shame and embarrassment. See, we can't ask, and we can't let people know we don't know. And the reason you can't do that is tremendous demands were put on you as a child to know things that children don't know and have no way of knowing. I'll use this example because it's the best one I know. My very first sushi experience, fitting since I had sushi tonight, my very first sushi experience was with a guy raised in a functional family. Okay? This is a real tragedy for me, not for him, but for me. So we go into this little sushi bar over here on the Sunset Strip, and we walk in the door, and there's a little alcove, like waiting area there, and like the hostess is over here, and the tables are over here, and the sushi bar runs this way, all the way down that way, and then turns there, down by where John is. We walk in the door, and I'm standing there, and I've never been in one of these joints, don't know what the hell they're about, I don't know anything about it. See, and I look around quick. You know, adult children case the room. Make sure there's no real risk of exposure here. Okay. No tests, no quiz papers, nothing on the wall. No sign, have you ever been here before? So I immediately know where I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit down there on that corner of the sushi bar because I can watch the people sitting that way and watch the people sitting this way and see what they order, how they order it, what they call it, where they put it, how they eat it, and then I can order what they order, put it where they put it, eat it like they eat it because I spent my whole life doing this. Okay? Unfortunately, I forget about the son of a bitch with me, right? Who says in a loud voice to the sushi chef, excuse me, could you come over here for a minute, please? This is my first time in a sushi bar, and I'd like to ask you some questions. Oh, no. Don't say that! No! I'm standing with you! No, I've never been here before! He takes the goddamn sushi chef and leads him down the entire length of the fucking bar, asking him what each fish is, what its name is, would he, as a first-time sushi eater, enjoy it? Or is it something he should wait until he has a more acquired palate before he tries it? I want to die. You know, I'm standing there and I just want to disappear and die somewhere. You know what's even funnier? It embarrassed other people there who weren't even with them. So the whole goal here, what we're talking about, is you work on these issues, you'll get into a position where you can walk into a place and not know that you're not okay because you don't know. You'll just think you're just fine as is. You're just fine as is. And you'll stop spending all your energy trying to not be who you are. See, all the energy that you put out in a day is put out in order to contain yourself, to control yourself, to not be who you really are. That's what the energy goes for. Is recovery from these issues possible? Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been at them for 9 years now, and my life is so different. So different. It's great. And we're so thrilled, my wife and I, to have a lot of therapy and a lot of work on these issues behind it, because we figure our daughter's got a shot, you know. At least emotionally, she's got a shot. Genetically, It's a little tight there, you know. So being realists, we thought we'd set aside a bail bond fund before we put aside a college fund just in case, you know what I mean? Somebody should offer her a beer before we can get her up over the hump. We have to deal with reality here. Why do I talk about this stuff, and why is my life devoted to this stuff today? Because I don't know that I would have seen year 18 had I not gotten to work on these issues. And if you go to work on these issues and you think about these issues, you'll understand these are the issues that you use the drugs and the alcohol over, or the food over in the first place. I felt inadequate long before I ever took my first drink. My feelings were already not okay long before I took my first drink. I always felt like a turd long before I take my first drink because I'd been beaten senseless by my mother so bad I couldn't even attend enough school the first year to get a grade. You can't come out of that and be okay. You can't come out of that with a sense of self that you're all right. I had a father who was drunk 24 hours a day. He was completely emotionally unavailable. There was no emotionally available person to me. Big problem, dysfunctional families, no one emotionally available. They look good on the outside, inside they're like a refrigerator, just like a refrigerator. And if you go back and if you meet this little inner child that lives inside of you, ask them, ask that little girl or that little boy what they thought of that wonderful home, and you'll get a real rude awakening. A real rude awakening. So what we want eventually, what I want, and why I just hammer and scream and yell about this stuff, I think this is also the number one issue that causes people to go out again. This stuff comes up, they got no place to take it, nowhere to go with it. They don't understand the feelings, they don't know that feelings are okay. They keep trying to hold them down, they can't hold them down anymore. The only thing that ever held it down was the food, the drugs, and the alcohol, and they go back to the addiction as opposed to going on. So that's just not, remember, before anybody gets nuts, this is just one person's opinion. Okay, what we're going to do is, we're going to take a break, about a 15-minute break. We'll come back at 1:15 for John, and we'll go on from there.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs, long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down. And then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.